Shalom, everybody, and welcome to our Getting Ready for Educator Shabbat. I know many of you know Joan Epstein. She's professor of music at Eckerd College and music discipline coordinator. And we're going to share some of the, to borrow a phrase from the rabbi, joys and oys of our current educational, where we find ourselves. So how's it been for you, Joan?
Well, our biggest disappointment within the music department was that all our spring concerts were canceled. So various groups and individuals were preparing everything from a traditional spring choir concert to an Arbor Day event that was joint band and orchestra, a separate celebration of a century of jazz, American jazz, that the jazz combo and the steel drum band, and some of our seniors doing senior projects in composition, jazz composition were going to be highlighted. All of that went away. So as far as academic courses, it's gone very smoothly. Eckerd is not like most liberal arts colleges. It's not about lecturing, right? The reason that you pay more tuition and come to a campus is that you have a total integrated in and out of classroom experience and lots of discussion in classes, lots of individual interaction with teachers. We started with Google Meet because we're a Google campus, and it didn't work very well for performance type courses or listening and discussing music. So we made a switch by the end of the first day of returning to Zoom, because you can share the desktop adequately. People can type comments if it's not a good time to interrupt. Ask questions, but mostly we could share each other's insights and share part of a recording or a video. So that's gone very smoothly. All of my students in music history type courses were working on term papers, and I would ordinarily have them come into my office for a half hour at a time and listen with them the music they're writing about and discuss strategies and maybe take a trip to the library. All of that happened virtually in individual meetings, and it worked out quite well. I think it would have been harder if we weren't already bonded with our students.
I agree with that.
100%. So if we have to resume this model for the fall, even if there's partial return to campus, that's going to be a challenge, building those initial bonds of trust and community that make a meaningful discussion, how important, allow students to open up and really show their vulnerability. But, I think the other, the Ivies are struggling with the same thing. They've already conceded that the fall semester at Harvard and Yale and Cornell, places like that, are possibly not going to happen any differently than they have it this spring. And how do you justify $70,000 in tuition for an online course? So it's been hard for lab courses across the country.
So is it, can I ask, is it way, 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 way too soon to think about what student performances will look like? Or is there any planning for groups? I would imagine it's already been planned, like the what if scenarios have been sort of fleshed out.
So private lessons have gone on without any real interruption or problem. It's not ideal to be listening across through laptops. But I think that, like in the conservatories, they're remedying that by having good microphones on the on both sides, where the sound quality is better and subtleties can be picked up. We're doing our jury exams in applied music, having people record themselves and post them to a website, and the faculty will review them the way we would have live. But so it's the ensembles that are the real issue, and each of our groups has handled it differently this semester. I know our string orchestra has been listening to Florida orchestra concerts while following scores and discussing
Oh, wow.
how the pieces are put together, and specific string techniques that are demonstrated there, just to sort of fill out the semester, because they had pretty well prepared a concert already that they didn't get to give live. And the jazz ensemble, their coach has had them prepare their own improvisations and post them, and I think they're creating a couple of virtual performances for these seniors projects. The biggest, and the choir, I know there's been a lot of vocal technique that they've been working on, things that you can do in real time, and their director Brent Douglas is exploring interesting options for the fall. The biggest challenge was for the wind ensemble, a band, for which I picked up responsibility when a colleague died 4 years ago. It wasn't something that I did for years and years, but you know, it now has 35 members, and they're now home. You know, some of them live in Seattle and California, wow, scattered around.
Wow.
Only 17% of Eckerd students come from Florida, so it's a very national liberal arts college. But the bigger problem for us was that about a third of the band didn't end up with their instruments. Some of them because they left campus for spring break, not knowing they wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
The clarinet's still in a dorm room. And right, but it was also that, you know, a lot of the students were playing school instruments like a baritone saxophone or a tuba or timpani or string bass. You know, they didn't put those instruments in the car or on a plane. Right. And so we couldn't even create virtual performances, which I see a lot of my colleagues around the country are doing with their bigger ensembles. Everybody records their part, and then somebody has to, you know, with a click track playing in their ears, and then they put it together. And even the Florida Orchestra has done that to keep us connected with them. And it's happening all over the country, virtual choruses, virtual orchestras and bands. We really couldn't pull that off. So I don't know if I posted this to Facebook yesterday, and you can all take.
I just saw it this morning. Yeah. So well, I didn't have, I mean, I saw it was there, and I made a note to revisit it.
Yeah, so take a look. So what we did with the band, since we had nearly finished preparing music for an Arbor Day concert that was scheduled for April 23rd, we had just 2 more pieces to learn. Is that number one, we created a virtual concert for the Eckerd community with links to professional performances of these pieces, so you know, kind of honor the event, which was going to be a big one on a campus where half the students are studying marine science and environmental studies. So we even get a special certification if we have a big Earth Day and Arbor Day event going on. So we had to keep that up. But you know, one thing that I'm a composer, and I like for students to understand how composers think, what the process is, and it seemed like a perfect occasion for us to collaboratively create a piece that was related to the tree theme of this concert. So, you know, the Eckerd campus is ringed by mangroves, which are very important to the health of all Gulf Coast communities, but literally anchors the ground on which our campus sits, half of which is dredged.
Yes, it's beautiful campus.
Yeah, so So the mangroves are essential and unusual. And so I provided all the students, the 35 students in the band, with some interesting background material on what's unique about the 3 mangrove species that make up the biome on campus, what little critters live there, how they germinate, all this stuff. And then everybody generated at least one musical idea, a melodic or rhythmic motive that represented, say, a red mangrove leaf or a white mangrove root, or the propagules, which are the long pods that they drop off with a baby tree inside. They're not even really seeds. They already have a tree ready to plant when the outside husk dissolves, and so forth. So they came up with those ideas, and then I organized them and arranged them into a coherent piece. And each week when we met, I would share what we had so far and get suggestions on what needs to be developed. We need to hear more of this. We were missing this. And over the course of a month, we shaped a piece which was completed last Thursday, called Mangal, which is the name for a mangrove community. And all of it was notated and in Finale software, which is what I use to compose with. But this allows you to actually play back with pretty realistic sound. So generate an entire performance. It's a 9-minute piece.
Wow.
I was able to generate it, and we made a video that has the score on the screen some of the time and mangrove images at other times. And it turned out really great. We're going to play it next year.
Oh, awesome. And that's the thing you shared on Facebook yesterday, right?
Yeah, so there's a link. It's a private YouTube channel that I posted it to, but as long as you have the link, you can hear it. So
everybody, you'll have to friend Joan on Facebook to get her link.
Or I can give you the link and you can put it on the synagogue page.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Everything is about what I was impressed with was what you said, that the Google did not work for the music, and then within a day you changed platforms and things like that. I mean, it's just like, how can you compress the process of what do we need? What are the main takeaways? What do my students need? What can I deliver, and do it now?
Right, exactly.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I'm going to thank you so much, Joan, for sharing with the community. And I feel like we probably don't pat ourselves on the back because we're too tired from innovating at the end of the day. But thank you so much for giving the insight of what is different, and what people who are, who are still engaged in education, but maybe as a learner instead of a teacher, are, maybe, darn, I missed this innovation, or dodged a bullet, are feeling. But it's, thank you so much for sharing.
Well, you're very welcome.
All right, don't go away though. I'm going to say bye to the synagogue.
Okay.